Mark Davis with Big Water Adventures for Mustad, and I'm here today to talk to you about what I would do if I were trying to target a record, state or world record, speckled trout in different parts of the country. I'll give you an artificial suggestion and a live bait suggestion. And Mustad's got hooks for both. Big shrimp, big menhaden, big mullet, big croakers all have two things in common. They've got big in front of them, and speckled trout, especially big ones, absolutely love them. There's a lot of different ways that you can rig them depending on what part of the country you're in. You got a 1/0 KO hook from Mustad, great for shrimp. Some of the menhaden, different parts of the country, guys love KO hooks. It's a live bait staple. If you're a circle hook guy, this is a 6/0, perfect circle, inline. Put it in a rod holder, big trout comes calling, fish is hooked up, the game's over. They actually make a straight up croaker hook for the guys of you in part of the country that are using a lot of big croakers for the speckled trout. I've said it many times before, you can catch big fish on small baits, but if you're going after a record, state record or world record speckled trout, I'll promise you, you can weed out a lot of the smaller fish by simply using whatever forage it is. Like we said, shrimp, menhaden, mullet, croakers. Just use one a little bit bigger, because when you get one that's big enough that a smaller fish doesn't want to mess with it, you know you're in the right zone for your world or your state record speckled trout. No matter where you fish for speckled trout across the country, top waters is probably one of your top choices for big fish. I personally like to go with classic spook type. This is just a straight up head and spook. You can hear the rattle chamber in there. It's one of the larger brodonkadonks. I guess the point is big trout can eat big baits. They've got large mouths. They act in a lot of respects like redfish. They're in the same general areas. You want to make sure you beef up for them. If you're going to throw a big top water for a speckled trout, if it's in the area, it's going to come to it and eat it. When it does, I always will pull the factory hooks off of them, and I'll go with either a KVD Elite Series treble hook, usually in something along the lines of a 1/0 or 2/0, depending on the size of my top water bait, or just one of their regular rounded Elite Series trebles. Both of them are important for two reasons. Number one, tensile strength, and then sharpness. Big trout come up and eat a bait, and a lot of times they've got a really soft mouth, and you're not gonna stick them nearly as well as you would other species like a redfish or a snook or something like that. You've gotta have a very, very sharp point, and you've gotta have really good gripping power, good tensile strength. In my opinion, the Elite Series trebles, generally speaking, are so sharp that when a fish turns one direction or the other, he'll get another hook in him and pay the price. Besides your top waters and just regular live bait, you can kind of have a combination between the two. I love these big Paradise Popper Extremes. Reason, it's got a big chugging motion, it pops, it clacks, it sounds like fish that are feeding. By design and by necessity, big speckled trout are curious fish. When they hear something, they sense it, they'll come to it. Now when you've got that big live bait on the other side with the Mustad hook, it's about as instant death as what you're gonna get. Fish is gonna get caught. But if you need to bring the fish to you, and you don't wanna use a topwater or surface bait, and you don't wanna just throw a live bait out and let it set, it's kind of a combination between the two. You can take the same ones, either the croaker hook, the circle hook we were talking about, or the KO hook, 12 to 18 inch leader below this, no weight, and the big live bait on there. You kind of fish it like an artificial. Chug, chug, pause, chug, chug, pause. You're bringing the fish to it. When it sees what's there, it's a natural presentation with no weight on it. It's on.